So when I first read this assignment, I instantly thought about my dad. He's not a mathematician or an artist or a historian like the assignment sheet suggested, but he is a quality manager at an industrial plant here in Seneca, and he also works as the health and safety manager for the plant as well. When I first thought about it, I was kind of thinking about how he always, when I was little, he always used to read books all the time, and we've got a huge bookshelf in our office where he keeps a bunch of books, and they're just about engineering and management and safety, and I just couldn't help but think about how I would always watch him, read, or he'd always be looking at something on his computer when I was little, and still now, but I'm not home as much. So he doesn't read as much anymore, but he has started getting involved with multimedia and new literacies that we talked about in our class, actually. So daily he comes into contact with emails from hundreds of employees and his boss and customers, and he actually said that email is his main communication with his employees. That's what he's told them to use. He also reads product specifications on projects and just different things like that. He finds new information through websites. He Googles things as needed, basically. And he also has a paid monthly subscription to engineering magazines and management magazines and stuff like that. And he said that he specifically does take time to read them when he receives them each month. When he doesn't know words that he comes across or he doesn't know pronunciations, he does his best and moves on. When he's reading emails and reports and stuff, he looks at headings, subject lines, summaries, stuff like that, just to kind of get the main idea of something and then move along quickly. He reads stuff as needed, and then about 40% of the time is when he rereads stuff, and then when he gets pictures of things that are going wrong with products, he'll just look specifically at that one thing instead of looking at the whole thing. He just looks at that one little thing that he needs to be fixed. He also isn't afraid to ask people if he doesn't understand something. So if he has a problem or doesn't understand some vocabulary, then he's totally not afraid to ask anybody, and he said he does that about 25% of the time when he reads some information. He comes into contact with new information from a variety of ways that I've already talked about: email, websites, magazine subscriptions, just stuff like that. And the type of writing that he does is note-takings at meetings and conference calls, of course emails. He writes daily to-do lists. I'm sure they get longer and longer every day, and as the day goes on. And so those are just the main things about what he talked about. It kind of surprised me that he didn't read as much. I figured he would take time to still read about the specific materials that they're making at the plant and just some different things like that. So there were definitely some surprising things. I know he reads emails all the time, talks about receiving hundreds of emails every day. So that wasn't a surprise, but just the reading books, I think, was the surprising part to me, because as an educator, I read a book while I was at the beach this week just because I wanted to, or just different things like that. And kind of a quote from him, kind of paraphrasing it, but he said he's done his time. So he kind of doesn't really see reading relevant in his field, which is interesting because that's the whole point of why I asked him to do the interview and why I thought of him to begin with. So it's very interesting to learn that. That's more specifically him maybe than others, but it was very interesting to learn.